Everyone's favorite socialist, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, may have a degree in economics, but she's certainly not the brightest. So let's watch 5 of her most infamous fails since she's been in the spotlight.
Let's get inaugurated January 3rd, January 4th. We're signing health care, we're signing this, we're decarcerating our society.
So she would love to be inaugurated if she wins her congressional race here in New York, but they don't actually inaugurate Congress people.
She hopes to be inaugurated. Yes, the president's the only one out of 3 branches of government that gets inaugurated. And then she went on to say that she was going to get inaugurated on the 3rd and then start signing bills on the 4th. And so people are being critical of her, saying she doesn't understand government. You don't get inaugurated and you don't sign bills. Only the president will sign the bills that you present to him.
Well, she's got her view of how things work.
You should probably abandon your socialist ideals when even Jake Tapper from CNN can poke holes in your platform.
The overall price tag is more than $40 trillion in the next decade. You recently said in an interview that increasing taxes on the very wealthy plus an increased corporate tax rate would make $2 trillion over the next 10 years. So where's the other $38 trillion going to come from?
Well, one of the things that we need to realize when we look at something like Medicare for All would save the American people. These are generational investments so that they're not short-term Band-Aids, but they are really profound decisions about who we want to be as a nation and how we want to act as the wealthiest nation in the history of the world.
Right, now I get that, but the price tag for everything that you've laid out in your campaign is $40 trillion over the next 10 years. But I'm talking about the overall package. You say it's not pie in the sky, but $40 trillion is quite a bit of money. And the taxes that you talked about raising to pay for this, to pay for your agenda, only count for 2. And we're going by left-leaning analysts.
Right. Well, when you look at how our healthcare works, currently we pay much of these costs go into the private sector. So if you look at my generation, millennials, the amount of economic activity that we do not engage in, the fact that we delay purchasing homes, that we don't participate in the economy and purchasing cars, etc., as fully as possible, is a cost. It is an externality, if you will, of unprecedented amounts of student loan debt.
I'm assuming I'm not going to get an answer for the other $38 trillion.
Even though she has a degree in economics, she seems to have no idea of how the economy is actually measured.
The economy is going pretty strong, right? There's roughly 4% unemployment, 3.9% unemployment. Do you think that capitalism has failed to deliver for working class Americans, or is no longer the best vehicle for working class Americans?
Well, I think the numbers that you just talked about is part of the problem, right? Because we look at these figures and we say, oh, unemployment is low, everything is fine, right? Well, unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs. Unemployment is low because people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and can barely feed their kids.
So she gives 2 reasons for why the unemployment rate is so low. Number 1,
unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
And number 2,
unemployment is low because people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
Both of these reasons prove that she has no idea what she's talking about. Let's address her first statement. The unemployment rate is calculated by dividing the amount of unemployed over the amount of people in the labor force. This means a worker is only accounted for once, so holding multiple jobs doesn't affect the unemployment rate at all. Now to address her second statement. The unemployment rate measures how many people are unemployed. It has nothing to do with how many hours someone works during the week, which has been constant since the last decade at around 34 hours per week, not 60 to 80. So it might be time for her to go back to school and take a first-year economics class. It's clear that she has no idea how politics works, even the most basic stuff like what color represents Democrats.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're gonna flip this seat red in November.
No, Alexandria, you want to flip the seat blue. Or maybe she's thinking of the red for this party. She also doesn't know some more important stuff, like what the 3 branches of government are.
Is that should we, and if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
The dumbest thing that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez said was so dumb on the 60 Minutes interview that even Anderson Cooper looked at her and almost vomited in her lap. So Alexandria Ocasio Cortez was asked specifically about the fact that she says a lot of things that are not true, that in common parlance, she lies a lot. Listen to her response, because it is telling about the ways so many folks on the political left think about what politics is, and it explains why younger generation folks are turning socialist. What she's about to say is a sign of deep immorality, deep philosophical immorality. But she says it with a straight face, and so we take it seriously.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important. And whenever I make a mistake, I say, okay, this was clumsy. And then I restate what my point was. But it's not the same thing.
So if she's morally right, she can lie, she can get facts wrong. We shouldn't worry about her being semantically or factually accurate. We shouldn't worry about any of those things. Accuracy is of no consequence when what you're saying is morally right. So you might say that we should take her seriously, but not literally.
My view of Alexandria Cortez can be summed up by something Trump said just recently.
And the Democrats don't want to do anything about it. They say, oh, it's immoral. But it wasn't immoral 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and 10 years ago when they all raised their hands to approve a wall. All of a sudden it's immoral. It's immoral because, one reason, because they know they're going to lose in the 2020 election. That's the only reason to them it's immoral. Who did? Who cares? She's...